Hello, everyone, and welcome. Um, I'm so glad you're here today. In this session, I will walk you through how I would implement a workshop on building strong family engagement in early childhood. Family engagement is one of the most powerful tools we have in early education. It's not just about inviting families to school events, it's about building lasting partnerships that support children academically, socially, and emotionally. The purpose of this workshop is to provide you with a practical strategy you can take back and use it in your own practice. My hope is that you leave today not only inspired, but also equipped with real ideas that you can implement. Moving on to physical arrangements. When planning a workshop like this, the environment matters as much as the content. I would arrange the room in small groups tables. This way, participants can um, engage in meaningful conversations um, and share ideas. At each table, I'll provide materials like sticky notes, markers, and handouts. These encourages active participation rather than just passive listening. The projector and the screen will be positioned so that everyone has a clear view of the visuals. Lighting would be warm and welcoming, and I make sure the room feels open and inviting. Why? Because the setup sets the tone for the session. If participants feel comfortable, they are far more likely to engage and share. So we're moving on to workshops opening. To begin the workshop, I'll start with a warm welcome and some introductions. Building rapport is easy is early. Building rapport early is important. It helps participants feel connected. Um, I would then lead a quick icebreaker called Family Snapshot. You can use whatever, or the presenter can use whatever icebreaker that is quick and works for them. But for this particular um, setting, I will use Family Snapshot as an example. And each participant would share one meaningful way their families was engaged during their own childhood. It may be as simple as a parent helping with homework, or reading a bedtime story, or attending school plays. This activity not only get the people talking, but it also highlights the many different ways family contribute to learning, and it helps us see that family engagement isn't one size fit all. And this is a really good this is a good way to get to contribute to learning. It also gives people an opportunity to maybe use a different method than what they originally used, so it could help bring new ideas. Um, so after the icebreaker, I share the agenda, learning goals for the session. I would let participants know that we'll look at what family engage why excuse me why family engagement matters, explore some practical strategies, and then reflect on how they can apply these strategies into their own settings. So then we moved on to key strategies. There are four strategies I'd like to focus on today, which is communication, inclusion, consistency, and partnership. Communication is about creating open and clear channels. Inclusion means ensuring every family feels welcome and valued. Consistencies ensures that home and school are like working in sync together. And then partnership, meaning view families as co-educators and collaborators, not just guests in the classroom. Which is really a very important thing because you want the parents to feel like they are involved in every aspect of their child's learning. Okay. These strategies are not they're not just steps to check off, but they're guiding principles. And together they create an atmosphere where families feel empowered and engaged. Then we move on to why family engagement matters. Um, Research consistently shows that when families and schools work together, children thrive. Family engagement builds trust, enhance communication. It ensures that children feel supported in every environment they are a part of. For example, when a teacher communicates regularly with family about what's happening in class, children experience consistency between home and school. And that consistency gives them stability and security. It is also important to note that engagement is not just beneficial beneficial for academics only. It also supports emotional well-being, social skills, and a child's overall sense of belonging. Um, and family engagement helps children know that they are valued, they are loved, and supported by both at school and at home. So then we move on to strategies and action, which is communication. Communication is the foundation of strong family engagement, but not all families prefer the same method. Some may appreciate a weekly email or an app update, while others respond better to phone calls or face to face conversation. Um, this is why communication is good so that you can follow up with the parents to see what method works best for them. That way, it can eliminate any confusion. Um, I would encourage using multiple channels of communication. That way, no family feels left out. Weekly updates keep families informed, but true engagement happens when communication goes both ways. Um, for example, instead of just sending a newsletter, teachers might include a question at the end. What's one way you see your child using this at home? And this will turn the communication into a dialogue. Okay, so then we move on to reflection opportunities. Um, and so you think about things like how do you currently communicate with families or what's working well. And then let's just pause here for some reflection. How do you currently communicate with families? Which is one of the questions. And then think about the methods you use. Are they mostly one way or do they invite conversation? Um, just take a moment just to jot down your thoughts or imagine how you might expand communication to better reach all families. Um, if we were together, if we were together, I'd give you or give them maybe a minute to discuss with their partners or write it in their notes. So then we move on to strategy and action, just inclusion. And so inclusion means making sure every family feels like a valued member of the school's community. This goes beyond simply inviting families to events. It's about recognizing and celebrating who they are. For example, um, teachers might invite families to share cultural traditions, foods, or stories in the classroom. Schools might offer translation or interpretation services, just so that the language never becomes a barrier. Um, and inclusion also means being flexible. Some families may not be able to attend events during the day, and, offer multiple options, like virtual participation or evening events. These type of things can make a huge difference. The message that you would be sending or we would be sending to families, they would hear like you belong here and we value you, which is really important. So then we move on to workshop endings. As the workshop comes to a close, I would recap on the key strategies, which are communication, inclusion, consistency, and partnership. I'd highlight examples if we were to discuss and emphasize the family engagement is not a one time effort, but it is an ongoing practice. I would guide them. I would then guide them um, with a final reflection. So each participant would write down one action step that they will take to strengthen family engagement in their own classrooms. For example, committing to starting a weekly newsletter or setting up family conferences or creating a cultural celebration day. Um, and if time allows, I'd invite a few participants to share their commitments aloud. This sharing creates accountability and builds inspiring for others. So then we move up to follow up and sustainability. Um, the end of the workshop is really the beginning of the work. To support participants after today, I provide a resource packet that includes templates for newsletters, sample family surveys, and practical activity ideas. Um, and so those are good things. And then I would also encourage peer check ins. For example, small groups of teachers could meet once a month to share how they are implementing their family's engagement strategies. And finally, I create an online support space, something simple like a shared folder or a group chat where teachers can share their successes and their challenges. And these are really good because not only can they share success and challenges, they can also get feedback. It may be maybe take different actions when they're having challenges and they can't get through them. Sometimes others may have experienced the same thing and offer some, new insights on those strategies. Um, and so these follow-ups supports make the learning sustainable. So it doesn't end when the workshop does. So okay, so then we move on to what would be the thank you slide. And then in this slide, I did put, because at the time, sometimes people have questions. So this would allow them opportunity to ask any questions they may have. And then also, I would put down a contact email in case, they don't have the questions right then and there, but they may develop after the workshop. So they'll be able to communicate what their questions are and receive, some answers. And then thank you so much for participating in this workshop. Remember, family engagement is a journey, not a single destination. When we work together with family, children benefits in every aspect of their development. And by building strong partnerships, we are laying the foundation for children to both thrive in school and in life. And this also, just give the parents, just a sense of relief of being involved in every aspect of that. So, again, I appreciate your time today, and I look forward to seeing how you implement these ideas in your own classroom.